The next lesson is what I call subtractive editing. Some people will do interviews. Let's assume that it's good audio in all your bytes. So they'll come over here and they'll load an interview clip and they'll play it using this.
DMAN.
And they'll mark an in here with an I and an O here. And they say, I like this soundbite that she just did. And they'll drag over here like this. And that's one little soundbite. And they'll just keep assembling like that. So they'll find the good ones here and put them in the timeline. I find I'm faster if I do what we call subtractive editing, at least in the rough cut version of a sequence. I like to put all my material in a timeline and watch it that way. It gives me a kind of wide view. I kind of have a librarian's memory when it comes to video footage. So if I see everything in my timeline from the beginning to the end, I kind of know in that timeline where things are. So instead of going back to a bin and saying, oh, I had that clip of the whatever, and it was called something or other, and I got to scroll and search, I have a timeline with everything in it. I call them rough assemblies. This is a very small rough assembly. These are just 2 takes of an interview. But this is still an example of subtractive editing. So instead of adding things, I'm taking things away. So I know that at the beginning of this, we're just getting warmed up. I'm going to mark an in here because I know that we're gabbing here. And I'm just going to hit L. That's so for playback controls, J, K, and L are something you should remember. L is forward, K is stop, J is backwards. Hearing things backwards is always fun. But I'm going to scrub up here until I think we're ready.
Like earth animals. Okay. I'm sorry, what was your question?
What kind of products do you carry here, and why are they special?
Okay.
And why is it different from shopping at PetSmart?
Okay. The product.
Okay, so now we're getting into it. So she says, so I'm using my left and right arrow keys now. I'm going backwards. Now I'm going to use my forward or right arrow key to get to the end of this So I'm going forward in time. So right about there is where is done. I'm going to mark my out there, which is an O. And if I keep playing, she should say the.
The products that I carry.
So we don't want ums. Some editors like to use natural phrasing. I do not. So by the way, I'm zooming in to my timeline and zooming out with the minus, or it's the equal key, but actually it makes more sense. The equal key on your keyboard is also the plus key. So I always say plus and minus. If you hit Shift plus, that expands the view of each particular track. So Shift minus takes it back down to small. But zooming in and zooming out. So we're going to get rid of this. You can just hit delete. You can, by the way, find all of your options on your keyboard. You can lift things out with semicolon. You can extract things out with apostrophe. You can just hit delete on your keyboard. And we'll get into some other stuff then as well. In this case, we could just hit delete. It's important that you have all of these selected if you want to delete this whole chunk here. So for example, if I just have these things, V1 and A1 selected, then you can see this is highlighted, this brighter green. If I hit delete, it's just going to delete those 2 tracks. So we're going to undo that. We're going to select these, and we're going to hit delete. So now our interview begins where we want it.
The products that I carry here, like earth animals probably.
And you might have noticed I hit the up arrow to get to the beginning of the clip. So if I hit up, it's going to go there. Now, to go up, you need to have a track selected. If you don't have anything selected here, it's going to hit everything. Every edit point is going to go, which is useful. But say you know that you just want to jump around on V1 and not stop on audio tracks. So wherever there's an edit on V1, and in this case A1, you go there. Now if we hit V2, it's going to stop at these edit points and not A1. That's an easy way to jump around stuff. Okay, so another way we can use the subtractive method of editing is not for an interview, but for B-roll. So I'm going to make a new sequence here, and I'm going to call it B-roll rough assembly. I don't care what the sequence preset is, because I'm going to let Premiere do that thinking for me. It's going to go to B-roll, and we have some new B-roll here. See, I have my bins organized here, so it's easy to find things for me instead of all these numbers that mean nothing. Now, if you have an assistant editor, or if you're a student and you're just getting to know things, I would label all these things with what they are. Or if you're like me, kind of seasoned, I'm not going to take the time to label all this stuff. I'm going to drag all these clips into my timeline. So I selected everything here, just dragged them into my B-roll rough assembly, and I'm going to change sequence settings. Now Premiere has adjusted my sequence to match the source material's frame rate and dimensions. Now I might have got tricky here. No, there's no GoPro footage in this. We do have another, we'll make another sequence. We'll try to trick Premiere here. We're going to call this B-roll rough assembly. We'll call this latest. That's our latest. And if something else is later, then I'll change that name. So that's already loaded in here. I'm going to go to pickups 2 and see I have here, this is, oh, I must have, what did I do here? That's weird. There's all kinds of transcoded stuff in here. Why are these all MPEG-4s? Oh, okay, because, all right, edit this out. Oh my God. Oh yeah, oh my God. What the hell? Okay, so I'm going to go to my B-roll, and here's my second set of B-roll. By the way, if you double-click on a folder, a bin rather, you can drill into it, and then to get back, you just hit this up thing, and then you're at your, if it's grayed out, you're at your, topmost project level. So we can select, see here we have MPEG for, these are GoPro clips. So I put these on a stabilizer I have, and it just freaked out there. Now the stabilizer's pretty good and gives a nice wide shot.
That's a funny sound. I've never heard that sound.
What?
Gives a nice wide shot of the store. But we're gonna take all these other clips which are from a different camera, and we're gonna put those in here. Let Premiere change the sequence settings, and then take the GoPro and put it at the end. And the reason is, this is 1920 by 1080, which is full HD. This is, I think I shot the GoPro stuff at like 2.7K. And let's see, metadata display, basic, no, oh, Premiere. For God's sake. You would think that just the standard. Come on, I just want to know what the size is. Alright, bust this, edit this out. So if I click on one of these, I can go to properties, and it tells me, oh, it is 1920 by 1080, but it's 60 frames a second. I was pretty sure I shot this at like 2.7K, but I guess I did not. So we'll just pull these to the end anyway. Like that. So it's 59.94 frames a second, and this is 29.97. So it's easy to take this and with math get it down to this. We don't need 60 frames a second for this video. So anyway, this is subtractive editing. So
Would you like her to give you a cookie? Like, duh. Yeah, if you just nice. No, that's my fingers. I don't have anything. Oh,
so I think
nice.
that's kind
He's
of
like,
a shot.
Thank you so much. I love your little dog.
Oh my gosh, quiet. Let's just look at the shot. So that's okay. We're moving from one set of leashes to another. Maybe this is a shot of the one. So I'm going to mark an in there because I liked this part, and I'm going to get rid of this. In fact, we don't need any of this audio. So we got rid of that. Now we can unmute. So we're going to roll a little bit more here because it's moving from this set over to here. Actually, like here. We're going to get rid of something here. So now we're starting a new shot. Like that's a shot. So we'll go backwards with J. So we're going to just delete this. You can hit the delete button, or you can hit either semicolon. I'm going to undo that, or apostrophe. Apostrophe gets rid of it and tightens it up altogether. So it's basically a ripple delete. Ripple delete is something stolen from Final Cut Pro, so we'll undo that. The other way to do ripple delete is, you can't see this, I'm going off screen now. I'm going to Premiere Pro on a Mac and going to keyboard shortcuts. On a PC, it's in the File or Edit submenu, keyboard shortcuts, and you can see my semicolon is lift. My lift, like, think about it, it just lifts it out of the timeline and leaves a space. Extract pulls it out and pulls clips together, which is also called a ripple delete. A lot of people, and actually I think on PCs ripple delete is already enabled, but on a Mac, shift delete is the quick command for ripple delete. So we're going to move I've clicked Shift here, so this will reveal everything that you can do with your keyboard if Shift is pressed down. So here's ripple delete over here. Now, if you don't have an extended keyboard, then you don't see this. So it's kind of bogus that Adobe does this for Macs and not PCs. I think it's a conspiracy, but we're just going to move it. No, we can't do it. Used to be able to do that. So I'm just going to type in ripple. Here's ripple delete. We're going to grab it. We used to be able to grab it. What in the Sam Hain? What the hell? Oh, there. I don't know why it wasn't grabbing it. And so I clicked, grabbed, and dragged, and I'm going to plop it here. So now if I hit Shift again, ripple delete is up here. And let me show you. I hit OK. So this is now a custom keyboard layout. Before it was Adobe Premiere Pro default. Now it's a custom one. I have multiple layouts that I sometimes use depending on what mood I'm in. But now we're just going to keep it at custom. You can name it whatever you want. So you can say like my new layout, whatever. Okay. And so my new layout's up there. Okay. So if I hit now Shift and Delete, it does the same thing as Extract does. So again, undo that. This is a lift. This is semicolon. Just deletes it. You can also do that with just straight delete. This is apostrophe. So let's shrink this timeline down so you can see what's happening. If I hit extract, which is the apostrophe, it's going to take this and it's going to pull everything down. Or you can hit ripple delete, which is shift delete, and it does the same thing as extract. So basically, now I'll just go through all of this footage. And by the way, when I'm doing subtractive editing on B-roll, sometimes I like it all to be pulled together, and I'll just know, like, hey, I know in the front of my rough assembly that all my collars are there at the front. And this timeline is going to get really whacked down. So now we have 12 minutes 30 of B-roll. We're going to cut this way down, and we're just going to have like the creme de la creme. But sometimes I won't even get rid of the whole. I'm just going to delete that, and I'll know that there was some junk here, and I'll move on to the next. And I'll just keep a hole there so I know the shots are kind of separated. And then when I'm scrubbing through things, or I can just use my up and down arrow key just like to quickly go to all the shots like this. And then you can copy them and paste them, like copy, and say you want to put it like here above an interview bite. I have V3 selected here, and only V3, and I'm just going to paste now, and zoom in here, and now I've pasted this collar shot above her interview. Now this isn't going to match up necessarily, but
he was the gentleman that came up with the formula, the original formula for Blue Buffalo dog food, because Blue the dog had...
Okay, so I've cut some B-roll in over there. I almost always cut B-roll on top of my interview bites, because then I can easily scoot things around and tweak the ends, and it's just much easier. In the end, I might compress all my tracks, but I like to stack things. I find it's faster to edit that way. The other thing you can do is once you've cut all of this down and you have just like the 20 greatest B-roll shots that you want, you can copy them all and go to your interview cut down, and you can paste them on the end. And so then you're just like pulling from the same sequence. Oops, that didn't work. Copy. Paste. Okay. So then you can just pull from the end, go like, okay, that's going to go there, that's going to go there, and it's like putting a jigsaw together. Okay.
She's like...
So obviously I did not cut down this B-roll because that was not a good camera move.
As well. Is that good?
Yeah, straight.
Okay.
All right. So that is how to subtractive add and then put it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. I'm going to stop this video now.